Hello and welcome to everybody. Now I guess it's my turn to talk about my game proposal. My name is David Rickaby and I am here to talk about my game proposal for you. I know you're looking at several options. I hope you choose mine. I think I've got a great idea and I'd like to tell you about it right now. My game idea is based on other games, similar games with similar things. So I'm looking at my game idea to something being a simple game, similar to what Angry Birds or Flappy is. And we'll talk about this. First we'll talk about Angry Birds. Angry Birds, basically you are out there, well let's ask you this question. Who here hasn't heard of Angry Birds? My wife plays it, my grandson plays it, I play it on occasion. Even my mother-in-law at 81 years old plays Angry Birds. Loves breaking things down. You take a pig or take a bird and you shoot it over at some obstacles and you're breaking down the obstacles to free the pigs or to crash them out. It's a lot of fun. But Angry Birds is making their revenue based on selling the ads that they're placed within Angry Birds. It's a very good way of making revenue because they were at $2,599 as a daily estimate on their high end of when they're making money on it, and they were at 2,659 downloads as a daily download average at their heyday. Now Angry Birds is built, they have multiple levels. It's a very easy game to play. You're pulling back the bird or different birds and releasing them. And the idea is just to knock things down. Well, simple, straightforward, stuff to do. And it was a free app, or you could buy the paid version and have no ads in the version itself. And that was like a cost of $1.98. It was a marketing strategy. It was also built around Angry Birds, and it was very interesting. They actually built a strategy to be able to sell animals or stuffed animals that look like the Angry Birds and a few other things. I believe even movies or cartoons that were based on some of the things in the movies or in the app itself. Angry Birds is the first, it's a quote that I got that I really love, was the first waste of 75 million people's time that can be accurately quantified. Every day users spend 200 million minutes 16 years every hour playing this mobile game. Now think about that. People spending time just wasting time away playing a game shooting birds at pigs. Very interesting forefront with it. Next game, my game, also we're talking about Flappy. Flappy, very, very simple game. Basically you're pushing buttons to keep the bird flying and avoiding the obstacles, or allowing the bird to go up into the pipe or down the pipe to go to different levels or to do other things, collect coins or do similar things. Flappy Birds was reportedly making $50,000 a day in ad revenue for its creator. And that was based on the average, or the Verge.com, and Flappy Bird revenue, and I will provide that to you in a spreadsheet so you can go look that up and take a look at it. This app, the Flappy Birds, did not have a paid-for version. Everything was generated based on the ads that were placed within the game itself. Now this hit game is no longer available, but more than 50 million people that downloaded it are still generating millions or billions of ad impressions and the creator, Don Nijin, is still getting paid. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that name correctly. So my game idea is to develop a simple game, very simple game, easy to play with multiple levels, and my game is called When Pigs Fly. So of course I use the same background as Flappy Bird, and I put my pig in there. Of course, we can change that to be whatever it is you'd like it to be. But my thought was nice and simple. We have a pig that's flying, and the idea is to keep him flying, allow him to go to different levels. Of course, we could do pipes, or we could do something similar along those lines, or buildings. You know, you can allow him to Going to the pipes, maybe your pig is getting hungry, we need to feed them, gain them extra lives, or collect coins. But I like to put billboards either in the background, by the buildings, technology, yeah, and put billboards in here for your advertising space and sell that advertising space. The goal is to get a game that people want to download to be able to play so we can sell the advertising space. So my thought of a free, simple game for them to play, multiple level, multiple features, and if this takes off, then you can build this into other takeoffs, much like what Angry Birds did where there were Angry Birds in Rio, where we can take our pig and say, let's take our flying pig and put him on a farm. Now we can have him fly from pen to pen doing different things, or you can take and put him in a city setting, you know, the pet pig. But your pet pig flying around, making a mess of your house or doing different things. So different pieces, but the basic concept is a very simple, easy game to play, and we get one to take off and then build different levels from that. So the Mobile Technology Fact Sheet, something I need you to be aware of. As of January 2014, 90% of American adults own a cell phone. 32% of American adults own an e-reader, and 42% of American adults own a tablet computer. Well, as of October 2014 last year, 64% of American adults own a smartphone. When you look around today, you're going to notice that you're going to see people with iPhones, people with Androids, and start looking around a little bit further and see. You're going to look at older people that have them. You know, they're using the smarter phones. You're going to look at teenagers that have them. Even my grandson, who's 11 years old, has an Android phone, plays games on it, loves it. Whenever he rides in the car with me, he's got my phone, he's playing games on it, has a great time with it. It's a great time occupier. Well, so, of course, you have to put games on there for him to play. And that's what we're targeting. So we're targeting these Americans that own the smartphone. So global smartphone shipments, what's going on? Take a look and see how many phones are actually being shipped and expected to be shipped out in 2018. Well, today you're looking at 2015, you know, you're looking at 1.5 billion phones to be shipped on an annual basis. By 2018, it's going to be close to 2.5 billion. It continues to grow, and that's important. You know, if people are using smartphones and they're going with that, they need stuff to fill those phones to work with and occupy their time when they're bored. So that slide comes from the pewinternet.org fact sheet, Mobile Technology Fact Sheet. We estimate smartphone shipments will grow 35% in 2014, which it has grown. I don't know if it's quite hit the 35. To surpass 1 billion units shipped annually for the first time. Last year, shipments grew about 45%, reaching just shy of the 1 billion. That was in 2013. Again, smartphone shipment forecasts and market shares. Now, you don't want to look at just one source, you want to look at multiples. So here I'm looking at 2015 year-over-year growth. The Android growing by 8.5%. The iOS, which is the iPhone, 23%. And Windows Phone, 34%. So you're looking at the total, you look at the market share of where these phones are going, 79% for Android. iOS at 14.2%. So the market's growing, and that's important. Of course, I skipped a page. Oops. So our target device is the smartphone device. We're looking for those phones, those iPhones, those Androids. And our target users is that young adult, teenager type adult market. You look at who has the latest and greatest cell phones, the smartphones, you're going to look at the young adults and the teenagers, but then that also broadens out to a little bit older adults and young children. But that's the market we're going after. So we're going to develop this game for Android, for the Android market and for the iPhone. And then along with the iPhone will come along the iPad. The target audience is young adults. We're looking for minimal skills to begin, and then also for multiple levels to be able to continue to grow that. The Pew Research Center says smartphone owners, particularly young adults, minorities, and lower income Americans, depend on their smartphone for internet access. But we also depend on that smartphone for internet access to be able to sell those ads. So that growth is very important. That dependency to the internet for those young adults and those teenagers is very important to us because we want to be able to market that revenue right there. That comes from, you're looking at the young adults ages 18 to 29, or more likely 15% than other age groups to be smartphone dependent. Fully 46% of smartphone owners say their smartphone is something they couldn't live without. The PewResearch.org fact tank is where I found the information here. And then you're also looking at companies. Companies are now adding smartphones. They're looking at smartphones for their IT staff, for their sales staff. So you're starting to see other areas branching out into the smartphone. Well, those people need something to do in their downtime as well. And a game would not be a bad thing for them. So in my conclusion, the game that I'm talking about today, of course, is When Pigs Fly. I hope that you understand that what I'm looking for is a simple, easy play game, something that we could get out there and sell ads on. With multiple levels and difficulty. One of the big things is to be able to keep them involved in the game. So as they grow and they get better at the game, you want to keep them in that game playing it and keep generating the ad revenue by increasing the difficulty of that game and giving them multiple levels or different games to play within it. The explosion of the smartphones and tablets, very important to what we're talking about today. To market a product out there that there's no need for would be foolish. Well, here you've seen how the smartphones, the Androids and the iPhones have really grown and are continuing to grow. Develop the game as an app for the Androids and the iPhones. Again, a very target point because we're going to go specifically after those phones and allow them to work with our game. And we want to target the audience of the young adults. Those young adults are the key in getting the game out there and being able to get enough downloads to make this a valuable adventure. Any questions? I want to thank you for your time today. You've been a great audience. Very quiet though, but thank you very much.